Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Danny Hernandez and James DeSanti. We apparently sent Chad straight back to catering. We're going to start tonight at the top of the card since AEW led off with their surprise of the Joker. So we had Samoa Joe up against the debuting Johnny Elite, aka John Morrison, aka Johnny Mundo, aka Johnny Impact, aka Johnny, etc., etc., etc. This was cool. I mean, it was not somebody that I was expecting. I think a lot of us thought it could be Cesaro or Claudio or who knows. There was a lot of possibilities, but Johnny Elite is now here. I didn't see. Is he officially all elite? Did anybody see the tweet or?
Not yet, but I think it's probably just a matter of time with how many friends he has in that company. And I pointed out in our text chat earlier, I don't think there's ever been an instance of somebody who's been a Joker who hasn't either been signed to the company or appears on a recurring basis.
Fair. So this match was cool. It was a first time matchup, which I thought was, or at least was surprising to me that these guys had never crossed paths in all their years. This was like a styles make fights kind of thing because I know certain people in our group chat were complaining that it looked sloppy, but I thought it was an interesting dynamic of, okay, these guys have such clashing styles that they couldn't really figure each other out in the beginning. Eventually they got into a rhythm after they felt each other out, phrasing, and things got going. This match ended with Johnny Elite barely hitting a 450 splash and then setting up for Starship Pain. I assume that's what he calls it on the indies. Anyway, Joe gets his knees up, just bitch slaps Johnny into the other corner, and hits the Muscle Buster for the win. After which, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh come out, jump Joe with a pipe, and then Trent, Chucky T, and Rocky Romero come out for the save, and that ends that. So, Danny, I'll go to you first since James is fiddling with his headphones. Johnny Elite in AEW, this match, the post game. What do you got?
So the post match stuff, I don't really give a shit. Why are the best friends helping Joe? Is that a thing? I don't. But the match was great. I enjoyed it. Yeah, like it seemed sloppy in places, but a lot of that seemed like a clash of styles, and it didn't bother me. I liked the match. I thought it was a lot of fun. This is the kind of stuff I want to see from Johnny Elite. You know, he has such a flashy move set that I think lends itself so well to the AEW style, and I was just happy to see him here. He didn't have to win this match, but it was just nice to see him doing his thing and just getting a chance. He got a good, respectful pop, and they had a great match. And I think Joe is going to have an interesting tournament if he doesn't get boggled down by this ROH stuff going on.
Yeah, the Lethal and Sanjay thing is, I'm not super into it. I mean, I'm not a Ring of Honor guy, or at least, from past years. I like a lot of the dudes who have obviously come from there, Joe included. But I don't know. I'm not loving this. It's just a lot of bickering back and forth and these dudes jumping Joe, whether it's on Rampage or Dynamite. So it's another one of those things I feel like just because Ring of Honor doesn't have a show yet, it's kind of just in a holding pattern and it's getting a little tiresome. But other than that, like you said, yeah, this match was a lot of fun. James, are you done sending out the Instagram post for this live?
I am trying, but
I sent out an Instagram post.
Oh, just with the link now?
Yeah.
You're a good man. I appreciate you.
Okay, so now that that's settled,
so I'm gone for like 2 weeks, and it's like everything. Like I'm useless around here. I enjoyed the match. I was lucky. I got to see Johnny Elite wrestle live a couple of weeks ago, and it's weird that he's obviously still a specimen. The guy can still go in the ring, The guy is entertaining as all hell. He knows what his shtick is, and he knows that the crowd's going to love him because he's so flashy. But I will be honest and say that I've noticed he's been missing a step here or there every so often. Like I noticed it when I saw him live. I think we all kind of noticed it tonight. And maybe he's just working off some ring rust, because the truth is, like, we didn't really, like, it's been months since he's wrestled full time anywhere. And it's his first time on national TV in a minute. So I'm totally willing to throw him a bone on this, you know, give him the mulligan and just move on. Let's see what happens next time he's on TV. I was very excited to see him in it. The moment I saw him in it, I kind of knew he was going to take the loss, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm not crazy about the fact that a Joker lost, and I feel like we'll talk about that again a little bit later too. But good match, and yeah, I kind of knew that we were going to see the Ring of Honor stuff get involved, just because, like you said, there's no TV show for them, but this is a storyline that just keeps on continuing. And that missed 450 was a little rough, but it wasn't that bad. He quickly made up for it with a beautiful. Is it still Starship Pain if he's not in WWE?
I literally asked that while you were fiddling with your headphones.
Either way, it was.
That's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, it was a great Starship Pain, and Joe looked good. I feel like Joe really just needs something to sink his teeth into, and this isn't it. He hasn't had a match where I'm like, I need it. Like, the match with Suzuki was amazing. That Shot Fest was great. But I can't say I've seen a classic Samoa Joe match in a while. And I'm hoping this tournament can bring it out. But after that pipe shot he took to the shoulder, I have a feeling he's not going to make it past the next round.
And he shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
O'Reilly, like, for the win. I mean, whoever wins between O'Reilly and Phoenix for the win. I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, I mean, if you don't know the result to that match and you're watching this show,
we appreciate it.
Yeah,
I mean, Chad doesn't.
Thank you, Chad. We love you, Chad. My man, Chad. Wait, is that who Hojo is, Nick?
I believe it is.
Hojo is Hobo Johnson.
It's Howard Johnson from the '86 Mets.
Gotcha. Anywho.
Yeah, no, I think using Johnny this way actually made a lot of sense, because I understand, like, yeah, having a Joker lose isn't the best, but having one lose occasionally isn't the worst thing. Just, you know, keep up the idea that they can actually lose. And having this debut, I think it makes it work where it's a really good debut, but it's not somebody that you're going to be like, I can't believe that guy fucking lost.
Exactly. Like, I think if we had seen Claudio debut, if we had seen Gargano debut and they would have lost, it would have been like, well, why the fuck did you bring him in? But Morrison is a guy, he's an older guy who could still go, but he's an older guy who shouldn't really be winning, but is still going to get a major pop for being there. And the crowd's not going to immediately turn on the outcome.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on here. We had a quick Jeff Hardy backstage interview. It was actually in the doctor's trainer's room, where they announced that Jeff was officially cleared to compete. The Bucks interrupted and tried to talk Jeff out of it, saying that he shouldn't wrestle tonight. He's too hurt. And then Matt Hardy turned around on them and threatened the Bucks if they interfered in the match later with Adam Cole Baby. So then we had Hangman Page versus somebody whose name we're all going to botch. So don't even do it. James, it is.
Fuck. Takeshita.
Takeshita. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm normally very good at this, but I've only seen this guy wrestle twice so far. He's been great, but I got to get used to him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they've been running promos for him. He was on Dark, I think, a couple of times, and he was on Rampage within the last week or so. So this is the first time I've seen him in the ring, and holy shit, did this match fuck. I love this. This dude can not only really, really fucking go, but they let them go for, it felt like 15 minutes, and the crowd was super behind this match. They were super behind everything tonight, but shout out Houston. but they were super behind this match. It was getting really over. He got really over. I loved everything about this, James.
He's not some kid, you know. I don't think he's the current, but he's a former DDT champion. DDT is a company in Japan that we've talked about here on the pod before. They're known for more comedic style of wrestling, but he can clearly go. They mentioned it during commentary that he was one half of a team that dethroned Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. And he isn't some rookie who's out here on excursion. He's wrestling in the United States for the time being. And he brings a level of opponent that we don't really see from incoming Japanese talent. So it was great to see him show off a little bit. It's great to see him show a different side of DDT. And he's somebody who can have a great match. Like you said, I love this match. It was awesome. And he could take the loss and people are still going to be impressed by him. So I was impressed by him in the second match that I've really seen of him here in AEW. The first match was against Jay Lethal, and he's being pretty protected. His two losses are to the champion Hangman Page and a very cheating Jay Lethal. Like, he almost had Lethal pinned if it wasn't for all the outside Ring of Honor shenanigans. So that puts him on the same level as Samoa Joe, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I actually, because I knew nothing about this guy, and this was a question I was going to ask you, I was wondering if he was a guy over on Excursion, but you're telling me he's not. So I guess that makes a lot more sense at his level of how good he is. Just to recap the end of this match, Hangman kicked out of multiple of what I guess are his finishers, or at least his signatures. But then Hangman ended up hitting a buckshot and then landing a GTS while just staring daggers at Punk for the win. And then afterwards, Hangman and Punk had to stare down on the ramp until Hangman blinked and he ended up walking out first. So also, shout out Punk, who was on commentary wearing the abortion rights or human rights shirts in Texas. So
I love that they acknowledged it too on commentary. You know, it wasn't just like, "Oh God, let's just pan away from him." It was like, "Yeah, great shirt." And I love that.
The nice shirt, Punk, and then he didn't hear it because his headphones weren't working yet. But no, good stuff all around. But yeah, Danny, I assume this is your first exposure to this kid too. So what'd you think of
him? What's this kid's name?
So I keep calling him a kid. He's not a kid.
James, what's his name?
Why don't you tell me, man? We were watching tonight together.
See, I thought
I'm fast forwarded through his entrance, so I really don't know.
Gotcha. Well, you watched the match though, right? It was they said it a bunch during the match.
Yeah,
I'm ready for you, man. I'm ready for you.
I tune out Excalibur a lot. You know, he's really good at his job, but he just says so much at once. It's hard to retain any of it. As an expert of wrestling outside of AEW and WWE, yes. I kind of expect you to know this and enlighten us. That's why Rev turned to you. You know, that's why he trusted you.
As I pointed out already, I've been gone a few weeks. I'm getting back into the swing of things, you know, and I appreciate your patience. I appreciate everyone's patience. By next week, I will have it memorized. I'll have it tattooed, but temporary tattooed.
Right, you hear that, guys? If we get to 81 subscribers, James will learn how to pronounce and then tattoo this guy's name.
Woo! There you go.
Fantastic. Temporarily. He'll temporarily tattoo it and temporarily learn it. He will definitely forget it. But this match was great. It was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie, this is one of the better Hangman matches in a while. I mean, Anthony's wrestled so much over the past, 2 months, but, you know, this match rocked. This was the best Hangman's looked in a while for me. Like, he was intense. He was angry. He wasn't having any of it. He hit the GTS, a very interesting sell of the GTS. He didn't land on his feet. He just kind of hit his knee on the way down. It was brutal looking. But and then I like the way Punk sold it on commentary. The way Punk was like, I have him exactly where I want him. Like, that's so refreshing to have someone not be rattled and annoyed by someone else using their finisher, just to be like, yeah, I want you to do that. Like, that's why I did your finisher last week. Like, I got in your head, and I clearly am in your head. was a very refreshing take on what is normally, just a fine wrestling trope overall. But so yeah, I was a big fan of this. Good stuff.
Yeah, to your point about Hangman, this is a really good reminder of how good of a wrestler this dude is. I feel like we haven't had one of those in a few weeks, and just we're really hyping up. And I swear to God, not to ruin a bit, I thought Excalibur was calling him Takeshita the whole time.
I just listened to it, and I still can't freaking memorize it.
We apologize.
I'm gonna get it. But before this live is done, I'm gonna say this guy's name.
That I'm just gonna force James to make a YouTube short of trying to figure it out. But yeah,
sorry
we've been
for our ignorance,
Yeah, no, I feel terrible right now, like actually terrible.
But we've been hyping him up, because we haven't seen him before. This Hangman did a lot of good shit in this match too. Like he was just as good in this match as well. So I loved every second of this, like I said, and I'm even more excited for his match against Punk at Double or Nothing now. All right, let's keep it rolling just so we don't have to pretend we know his name. We had a quick Fuego del Sol and Dark Order video package to hype up their match against the House of Black on Rampage. And then we had Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee against the Workhorsemen. Now, this was a quick, I don't want to call it a squash, but it was a very quick match. It was just, I thought it was just to get these guys on Dynamite until I was quickly reminded that they are eventually going to force them into the tag title match, which is exactly what happens. Keith Lee was cutting a promo after the match saying that they're in the top 5 now and they want a title shot, which was then interrupted by Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Starks called Keith Lee Rex from Toy Story, which I fucking loved, and then said that they weren't deserving of a title shot. Then Swerve said Ricky was dressed like a bar of soap, which was also a great comeback. And then all of this was interrupted by Jurassic Express, who eventually came out, and Christian offered up a tag team triple threat match at Double or Nothing between the 3 teams. He then also, seemingly to Jungle Boy's surprise, offered up a triple threat match between Swerve, Starks, and Jungle Boy for next week. So,
Ooh, pick me.
All right, James is.
Are you kidding me? I raised my hand too.
First of all,
James raised his hand first, but before
he also spoke. You're not supposed to speak when the teacher's speaking.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. So first of all,
Mr. Cummings is my father.
I am so sorry.
But no, a lot.
Tekshetta. First of all, Tekshetta. That's the name. Second of all,
there we go.
I'm super excited for the triple threat next week, but I'm not excited for that match. They specifically picked all the small fries for that match. That means the other triple threat, if they have it, could be Keith Lee, Luchasaurus, and Powerhouse Hobbs. And let me tell you, I'm going to be feasting on all that meat. I'm going to be feasting on these meaty men if they give me that match. And I'm super excited for it.
Okay.
I'm glad that was your analysis of this. I like the fact that, Danny, that they had Christian offer up that triple threat next week without Jungle Boy knowing, because we're once again sowing the seeds of the Christian heel turn that I've kind of been looking forward to at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. And I would just like to say that I liked almost everything about this, but I hate that we're here. I hate that 2 Franken teams are going to challenge for the tag titles. I hate that Keith Lee is in a tag team and not a single star. I hate that the FTW title, end of sentence. But I'm not going to lie, I love that I guess this new finisher for Lee and Scott. That was a very, very nice looking move. I very much like that. I love that Keith Lee got to talk. He has the best voice. He needs to start a podcast. We need to get him on our podcast.
Or like just doing like audio books or something. Like,
oh my God. He should be a voice option for like Google Maps or like Waze. Or something. It tells you,
get on it, Tony Khan.
Fantastic. But I'm so glad he got to talk. I love that Ricky Starks got to talk because I feel like he doesn't get to do that as much as he should. And I love that they're going to have the triple threat. I love that Christian just, did the classic I'm turning heel soon thing of like, oh yeah, you can fight my guy, put him in a match right now. He literally was like, he's going to get his win back. He's shaming Jungle Boy into this match that he's not even giving Jungle Boy the option to be in it. He's volunteering him while still shaming him about it at the same time. As a like, yeah, go get your win back kind of thing. Great stuff. Also, just saying, get your win back. That's a heel thing. That's a inside baseball term that's kind of negatively associated with WWE in a way, the whole 50-50 booking aspect of it. So, great stuff by Christian. Great stuff all around. I just hate that this is happening, because that one of the Franken teams is going to win the tag titles, right? So
I don't think so.
Really? Oh, I kind of think so.
So then you're going to keep them on Jurassic Express where like nothing, they're always never the focus, and then Christian's going to turn on them.
So realistically, I don't see them putting it on Starks and Hobbs simply because Hobbs is there to be a heater for Starks. Starks is clearly the talent of that team. I like Powerhouse Hobbs a lot, but he's there to back up Starks. I don't think that's meant to be a tag team. And I would just like to say, I don't know if they really are a Franken team because they've been a part of Team Taz for a while now.
I'll back that up.
They're faction members, not a tag team.
But I mean, the way AEW does things is if you're part of a faction, you could reasonably be a tag team at any point. Like if Evil Uno and what's his name and 10 are going to be a team this Friday night on Rampage. I don't associate them as a tag team, but I buy it because they're part of the same group. So I don't know if I'd qualify them as a Franken team. Obviously, Swerve and Keith are, but I do think that they are for the foreseeable future going to be a tag team.
And they're a cool one at that.
They are. They really are. I don't necessarily want them to win the tag titles. I think if anybody is going to take it off them in this match, it would be them. But I don't see it happening simply because I think there's going to be more heat. You know what? Maybe because then Christian put them in this match. Like
he made it a triple threat. That it makes the champions look dumb if they're like, yeah, we want a triple threat. So Christian turning heel and being the one to be like, yeah, we'll do a triple threat. Like that makes sense. And if they retain, is he not going to turn heel? Because how could he turn heel while they're still champs? He has to have to lose the titles.
Yeah, I feel like them losing the titles leads to Christian like blaming Jungle Boy for losing the titles. Because I feel like this is more about Jungle Boy than it is Luchasaurus, but like he starts blaming Jungle Boy for losing the titles, and that's like the beginning of the culmination of the heel turn at some point. But I'm gonna back James up here on the Starks and Hobbs thing really quick because I feel like at least factions have chemistry together because they like work out together and they're probably training a lot together. So like they don't have as much chemistry as say like established tag teams, but they probably have more chemistry than say a Franken team like Swerve and Hobbs. So there's like a hierarchy to it.
Definitely.
All right.
Either way, don't put the tag titles on them. Either way, just don't put the tag titles on them.
I don't hate it. I mean, I'd love to see Ricky have another title and just be on TV more because I just love
a real title. That'd be cool. Like Chad said, put the TNT title on anyone in this story. Literally, even Christian. I don't care. Anyone else. What the fuck?
That's a good point. Just get it away from whatever that fucking Sammy Scorpio Sky feud is. I am so happy that wasn't on Dynamite this week.
Yeah, that was. I didn't even realize that's how much I don't want to see it that I didn't even realize it didn't happen. So that's
just all right. Let's move on. After the whole tag team thing, we had a quick Chris Statlander and Red Velvet backstage interview. So they have the match on Rampage for the Owen quarterfinal. Winner gets Ruby Soho. And I just want to mention Jade Cargill interrupting at the end because she told Shivani to cut the shit again, and it will never not pop me. So after this, we have MJF's fetish. I mean, MJF having to whip Wardlow 10 times, which is now I think the second time MJF has whipped somebody. So
it's becoming a thing. Like it's it's happened more than anybody should be able to do this on TV, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it happened to what's his name too, right? So
what's his name?
Yeah.
Do you think I honest to God question, and I it shouldn't be as big a deal for me as it is, but when he did it to what's his name, that shit looked brutal.
It looked way worse.
Do you think that they gimmicked the belt?
I mean, they showed the marks on Wardlow.
All right, they showed that his back was red.
Yeah. But it was not nearly as bad as it was.
Leave a mark.
Like, exactly. Like,
I mean, maybe it was just a type of belt. Because I mean, it definitely got a good crack.
Also, I mean, one guy's a lot more brolic than the other guy.
I guess, but like, skin is skin. It's gonna tear if it's. It shouldn't be that big a deal. I was just, I had it in my mind because he sold the shit.
No, yeah, it makes sense because it's a drastic difference between the two lash-ins.
Yeah,
one was super dramatic and brutal and or by design borderline hard to watch at points. So this one was like goofy and funny. And
can I also just say how happy I am that they are out of Long Island? Because my God, I like the moment I saw him on my screen, I wanted to flip him off and not have to worry about some screaming Long Island weirdo wanting to start a fight because they're Messiah.
Hi, Ryan.
Ryan, whoever, if you're from Long Island, you're part of the problem. I'm calling it now. I don't care.
He's not talking about wrestling. People just know that.
It's true. It's true. Move. No.
Yeah.
Move away.
I was going to say, though, before, if I had a nickel for every time they had a whipping on AEW, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
That was the line I was going for. That was the reference, but I couldn't think of it.
Anyway, so like James said, Wardlow just sold the shit out of pretty much all of these to the point where MJF got really fed up and wasted a couple of them, just rapid fire. Spears calmed him down, stepped in, he got a couple. And then as MJF went for the last one, decided not to, kicks Wardlow in the dick, just beats the shit out of him with the belts, stomps him down, chokes him out with the belt, and then Spears delivers a C4, setting up for his cage match next week with Wardlow, with MJF as special guest referee. So, I mean, Danny, this, it accomplished, I think, what it had to accomplish. Wardlow still looks good because he looks like he has the upper hand on MJF mentally to an extent. MJF still looks like a scumbag. And, Spears looks like he can, in theory, beat Wardlow next week.
Wouldn't it be funny if he did, though? This was actually good. The past 2 weeks of this feud have been really, really good and a vast improvement for me personally.
Same for me.
Yeah, I'm way more into it. But I get what you mean. Like, yeah, obviously we know Sean Spears isn't gonna win, but in kayfabe, there's no reason he shouldn't. They beat the shit out of him this week, and MJF is the special guest referee, so I don't know how they're gonna get around that. How is he gonna force like MJF to count the pin, or I don't know. So it's interesting, but yeah, this accomplished what it needed to. I'm almost a little sad that I feel like, we can't do this again because one, diminishing returns, but two, like after Wardlow no-sold it, like you can't go back to fucking like Cody's level of drama and sound.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Maybe it's just to show that Wardlow's really strong and Cody is a weak little bitch. I don't know what the agenda is anymore. It's not.
Yeah, Wardlow ate all of these, and Dustin had to come down and take a couple for what's his name. Like,
man.
We don't know, but yeah, this was good. This was good, but I feel like we've covered it pretty well, so I don't really have much else to add in.
Yeah, no, I got nothing else either, so let's keep it rolling. So we had a quick Roppongi Vice backstage promo. They're back together, which is pretty cool. They call out all of the champions and all of the promotions, Ring of Honor, AEW, and New Japan, and then they challenge FTR for the Ring of Honor belts. So I think this is cool. I know certain people are tired of the Ring of Honor stuff, but at least like there's some of it I'm enjoying, and the belt part of it I like. I think I think challenging for a title, I don't care what title it is, on television is gonna end up being for the most part a good match. So if we get Roppongi Vice versus FTR for the Ring of Honor titles next week and 2 weeks, whenever it is, I'm very excited for that match. I think it's going to be really good. I think like we talked about the Jay Lethal stuff earlier, James, that I'm not loving about Ring of Honor.
I agree. Danny, did you have something you wanted to say? It looked like
I was just gonna say I disagree with the title stuff, except for the tag titles, but that's because FTR is holding them.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I was gonna allude to as well. We talked about it already. Ring of Honor is a company without a TV show, so any storytelling, any storylines going on aren't going to get the love that they deserve or the time that they deserve. It feels like they're hijacking AEW television. I'm not going to care about a title match being on AEW television, like you said, Nick, because it's going to lead most of the time to a fun match. And I want to say 90% of the champions are people we care about and people we know as an AEW audience, people we know are good wrestlers and can handle being in a main event championship match on television. Samoa Joe as Ring of Honor TV champion isn't the problem. It's the feud that he's in that has nothing to do with the TV title. Wheeler Yuta being the pure champion is awesome. By the way, best of luck Wheeler Yuta in the Best of the Super Juniors.
Oh, that's where he is. I was like, why wasn't he on TV tonight? He's over there. Also, he defended it, I think, semi recently. So I was going to say most of these titles haven't been defended outside of the tag titles. I know the women's title was unified the other week in a match we all thought was less than stellar. But
Mercedes defended it on Dark Elevation, and I know. Yeah.
But at least FTR is defending these titles on a fairly consistent basis.
Exactly. And Joe has been defending. It's either maybe just on Rampage or it's been a little bit, but he has defended it. It's fair. I
forgot he did one on Rampage.
And Jonathan Gresham, who is the Ring of Honor champion, guys, just so everyone is aware of that. Samoa Joe is not the Ring of Honor champion. Gresham has not really been appearing in AEW. He's been mostly appearing in Impact. And even that, I don't think he's really done recently. We're in a holding pattern for Ring of Honor. I love everyone involved. Roppongi Vice versus FTR is going to be amazing. If you haven't seen Roppongi Vice, go find them. Go watch their matches on New Japan World. Go see some of their olds with the Bucks, with anybody that they've worked with. They're amazing. So it's going to be a good match. And that's what we need. I love Deonna Purrazzo. Mercedes Martinez exists. That shouldn't have been a main event. It shouldn't have been a main event. Those women were sort of set up to fail because no one in AEW from the audience, unless you're watching everything, knows who Deonna Purrazzo is, and people know who Mercedes Martinez is, and that's the problem. They know who she is. They don't care. So FTR, Roppongi Vice, people are used to Rocky Romero, and people like Rocky Romero. So, and Trent is cool too. So
I agree.
Even though they're all dicks in real life.
I agree with a lot of what James just said. And I was going to jokingly say, okay, I'm about to say what James said, but I'm not going to be as nice about it. But he put the niceness to the side a little bit at the end there. So, good job. But Ring of Honor right now, as is, under the ownership of AEW, is a joke. The Ring of Honor wrestlers are jokes. They lose to the AEW stars all the time, even when those stars are stars like Mercedes Martinez. And yeah, absolutely, a lot of people aren't going to know who Deonna Purrazzo is. So that's why you should book her strong and have her come in and have her win. And you'd be like, oh, this person's cool. And you could go and look and see, oh, wow, she's been killing it in Impact. She's been killing it in Ring of Honor. I don't want to harp on the, terrible, terrible decision of having that match main event and having your tattooed Tamina, shout out to Chad, win the main event when she, I don't believe, ever won a match on AEW television, at least not a singles match. I know she won like a tag match with Thunder Rosa, but that's just a bad look. So like all these Ring of Honor guys are kind of jokes, and he's not a Ring of Honor guy. And I get it, Roppongi is great and everything, but Rocky Romero is a loser in AEW. He just loses all the time. He lost to, I think, everyone he's faced in a singles match, and even the tag matches they've lost a majority.
We don't got to talk about it. We don't got it. Come on, we're good.
So it's like,
but they have enough.
A great match.
They have enough like past clout to I feel like get past that. Like everyone knows Roppongi Vice is really good.
Not everyone. Not all the fan that AEW claims they're always after. Not the Erics of the world, that they're trying to lure in. Like they're not going to know that. There's going to be like, yo, this dude loses all the time on TV. Why should I care? And I don't even know, because I don't think Rocky Romero is there all the time. So he's not even doing the typical AEW cheat and racking up wins on Dark. Maybe he is. I don't know, but
he alternates between wrestling on Impact, wrestling for New Japan Strong, and wrestling for AEW. That man is honestly the bridge right now between, like, he himself represents the Forbidden Door to me. So I'm
pretty sure he did a lot of the, not negotiating, but like the back door, like, hey, come on, behind the scenes.
It's not back door, it's Forbidden Door.
I know, but I mean like behind the scenes, in the back room, like, come on, guys, like, let's give him a shot type of negotiating.
He did.
I'm sure he did. I'm just saying the presentation of outside stars is nothing to compliment. It's a very, like, I don't know. And yeah, you should make your stars look strong, but like it's hard to care about people from other companies coming in anymore when they're just jobbers to the AEW stars. And
I agree.
A lot of them have lost. Like even Suzuki, I don't even think picked up a win.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to someone who's never seen a Suzuki match outside of AEW, there's like, dude, well, I don't get what makes this guy special. Like,
no, I agree,
because he just loses.
I think watching those matches, you understand what makes him special, but at the same time, you're right. Like they have booked pretty much everyone to lose, which is odd. So
it is. And point is, all I'm trying to say is that I don't think Tony buying RH was a good idea in the short term. It's only good for the historical aspect, not for the product right now.
I think we're all in agreement when that when that streaming deal finally does happen, because we're all expecting it. We're all waiting for it to happen. When the streaming deal finally does happen, Ring of Honor will most likely then have a home. It'll be content that they could put on whatever network they're going to be on a weekly basis. And that's great. That's exactly what Ring of Honor should be doing. We've talked about it. I'm a diehard Ring of Honor fan. I've been a Ring of Honor fan since I was a kid. And I was thrilled when Tony bought it. But we're at a point now that either just put all the belts in hibernation until the show comes out.
Except the tag belts.
That's just because we want FTR to have belts.
Yeah.
That's really it. But either put those belts into hibernation or just treat them the way old school TNA treated the NWA belts before it. It's just belts on the show. It's not representative of a company. They're just extra belts right now. Even that's not ideal, but it's better than what we've been getting.
You heard it here, guys. A direct quote from James to AEW. Be more like TNA. So Joe is like the only person from ROH who feels special, and it's because he's coming off a WWE run.
I mean, he's also technically an AEW guy. He's not a Ring of Honor talent. He's technically all elite.
Yeah, he is all elite.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is, and this is a weird stretch I'm gonna make, but he is the equivalent of Morgan from The Walking Dead leaving The Walking Dead to go like spearhead Fear of the Walking Dead.
That was a random one, but I get it.
Yeah, he's the guy that's like, you're a star here. Like, go carry this, please. Carry this fucking limp fucking show we got going on here. And again, I when I'm disrespecting Ring of Honor, it is literally just in the moment. This is not at the historical significance of Ring of Honor. I have the utmost respect for that, but right now it's more of a burden that AEW has chosen to carry that they didn't have to.
Yeah, they definitely could have, like James said, put all these titles in hibernation, and I don't think anybody would have like completely given a shit. Just be like, okay, like we had the one show where I think it was Super Card of Honor, and then we're like, all right, like we're gonna shut Ring of Honor down again for a while, and then when we bring it back up, we'll have like another big pay-per-view to reboot the show and everything. But
the only reason Super Card of Honor even happened was because that was a Ring of Honor event that was happening before Tony bought it. And tickets were already sold, and he didn't want to cancel a show that was already advertised. So I think if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be in this position. But we are where we are, and Wheeler Yuta is a champion. That's cool. Let's I
was gonna say that also does serve to make him look better, like him being the pure champion, which is good. So, like the titles are having spots where they work, but the storylines themselves maybe not the best. All right, let's move on. We spent a lot of time on that. We still got about half a show here, including the next Owen Hart Foundation quarterfinal, which was Kyle O'Reilly against Ray Phoenix. Another clash of styles. The high flying guy against this, a technical submission dude, but both guys can do both, and this ended up being really, really good. I also expected nothing less between the two of them. This match ended with Phoenix hitting a Hurricanrana off the apron to the outside, which just completely popped Shivani. He couldn't even get words out. He was squealing so much. It was great. So then Phoenix rolled O'Reilly back to the ring and went for his dive through the ropes cutter, but Kyle countered that into an armbar on the arm that Phoenix had dislocated, and Kyle worked over the entire match, which caused Ray to tap out. So now we will have Kyle O'Reilly against Samoa Joe in the semifinals next week. We'll get to that in a second, but Danny, I'll start with you. Like I said, I think I liked every match on this card, and this was easily one of the better ones. Probably top two between this and the Hangman match.
Oh, for me, this was match of the night. O'Reilly does so many little things so well, and he makes them so special. He sells like no one else in the company, and that's because a lot of people in the company barely sell at all. But O'Reilly sells enough for everyone. Like, the way he staggers when he is getting up or when he gets kicked in the face but he doesn't fall over is top notch, and to the point where it is sometimes over the top, but never too far over the top. It's always appropriate to the situation.
Kyle sells like Randy Marsh.
Oh my God.
That's what he looks like. He looks like Randy Marsh when he's constantly fighting.
I didn't hear no bell.
Yep. And I felt like both guys were like that the entire match. Ray and his I get knocked down and then I get up again. But like he literally gets knocked down, pops back up, hits somebody, and then, and ends up back on the ground shit. And Kyle with his just like borderline drunken staggering. It was just great all around.
Ray Chumbawamba Phoenix over here, but
it wasn't intentional. I just accidentally stumbled into it.
Yeah, you realized it, but it was too late. Yeah, I mean, I'd argue that Phoenix is a prime example of no selling. We give Seth Rollins a lot of shit for his no selling in WWE, but does a lot more than some people. But this match was fantastic. It was mind blowing. Phoenix is great. I'm not trying to sell him short. There's so many times where he shouldn't do these moves because there's so much room for error, and it's insane that he's able to do the things he's able to do while running or standing on the top rope. It's crazy. Fantastic stuff. But oh my God, the right person won. Holy shit. This half of the tournament, so much better than last week. This is the only tournament match that's made complete sense to me so far. I mean, Joe and Jomo did, but that like that's not a eureka kind of like. Well, this match was a eureka kind of moment where it's like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Just imagine how much cooler this would have been if Dax was doing the same thing on the other side. But you know, we can't nothing could be perfect, you know. But this was great. The right guy won. I have no complaints about this.
I'm going to push back slightly before I throw to James on Ray's selling. I think he sells a lot. I think he just sells differently. Like he, you know, because like I said before, he does the selling where he gets hit and then like uses that shot of adrenaline to hit back really quick, and then he's, you know, unconscious.
There's a time and a place for that, though.
He does do
and
it.
It's not all the time.
It is all of his selling, though.
It's a very lucha thing to do. Down in Mexico, you'll very rarely see a match end without somebody raising their shoulder at the 3.1. You know, even in defeat, you're meant to look strong and you're meant to look superhuman almost.
Is that where Hogan got it from?
Hogan is his own race, his own type of people. But I first noticed it when I was watching Kenny defending the AAA title. He was, I forget who he was facing, but he hits him with the one-winged angel, and the guy does the kick out at the 3.1. And I was infuriated. Because it's the one-winged angel. I don't want to see some jabroni kicking out of it.
It wasn't Andrade, was it?
No, it wasn't Andrade. And
but that is some jabroni, so good.
I hate you, Nick. But I don't even blame Danny. It's in his nature. I blame you for setting him up.
I wasn't even trying to. I was genuinely curious.
But it's just how they sell down in Mexico. It's a lucha style of selling, and I get it's not for everyone. It's not really for me either, but I've never been too thrown off by Ray for it. And oh my God.
I mean, normally I'm not too, but just seeing him against O'Reilly, who's like one of the best ever at it, you know. It's just...
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly. I think these two are perfect opponents. They're both technical guys. They're both strikers. You nailed it about how Kyle does these like little things in a match to really sell his personality. Joe does that just as well. Joe is one of those guys who in a match, you're seeing so much of his character. And I think these two are going to bounce off each other beautifully. I cannot wait for it. I really don't know who's going to win.
O'Reilly is definitely going to bounce off Joe. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're definitely going to get that spot that Joe does where somebody jumps off of something and he just sort of walks away from it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We're going to see a lot of that. And those guys are both going to do it beautifully.
There's going to be a O'Reilly, I didn't hear no bell moment. And then Joe's just going to look at him like kind of sad, but kind of like annoyed at the same time. Like,
and like slightly impressed.
Yeah.
It's like, why is he still this motherfucker? Like just go down.
The match I didn't know I wanted, but we're getting. Oh God, I'm so happy about it.
But I don't know who wins that match because O'Reilly versus Adam Cole in the main event, or not the main event, but the finals. That does a lot for that group who they've acknowledged their history and their animosity. So I don't know if we get that, but Joe also should not win next time. He just really shouldn't win after getting beat down with a pipe.
So
it does give them the out.
Of this now. O'Reilly wins. They play up the tension, and then he just lays down at the pay-per-view. And
I would hate that so much because this is a heart tournament, not a heartbreak kid tournament. I don't want Kyle O'Reilly to be the Triple H to Adam Cole's Shawn Michaels, who is the modern day Shawn. I hate this.
There's at least got to be a finger poke in there. Like
it's gonna be bullshit. This tournament's already become bullshit. It's might as well end with bullshit. Like it's gonna happen now. Now that I've said it, that's all I can see happening.
You've manifested the darkest timeline.
This is the darkest timeline.
The thing, like you said, James, with the attack with the pipe earlier, like they do have the out for Joe losing. Like if his shoulder's all fucked up because he got attacked with a pipe, like Kyle can easily just work that over and get it in a submission and I think that protects Joe, fine. I would honestly kind of rather see Joe versus Adam. I don't think I'm there for the discord within the Undisputed Elite, at least between those guys just yet.
But there won't be any real discord. It's all work, man. He's gonna lay down. It's gonna be a finger poke.
Yep. Or we go back to Vince Russo booking. And I don't know about that, bro. That's just a lot, bro.
Who beat Bob? Oh, it was Jeff Hardy who beat Bobby Fish, right?
Yes, I believe that was a qualifying match.
Yeah, it was a qualifying match. Well, at least he didn't get into the tournament.
Yeah. All right.
Are you telling me you would have wanted Bobby Fish in the tournament?
I think
Over
Danny
Jeff
just
Hardy?
didn't watch that match.
I did. It was bad, but all three of them in the tournament. That's interesting. I'm not a Bobby Fish fan, but that's interesting. That's all three of them in one tournament. That's kind of cool.
I hate you.
That sounds
right.
nice.
Before we start having our own Discord, let's move on to the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Santana and Ortiz against the Jericho Appreciation Society promo. I thought it was really cool. Eddie Santana and Ortiz came out through the crowd with Moxley, which was awesome.
It really was.
So this started with Jericho just taking a fucking flamethrower to everybody. He went in on Regal and his checkered past, and then he went on Bryan and Eddie and Moxley checking in the rehab. He just fucking torched everyone. And then Regal said something about shoving Jericho's toothbrush up his ass, which
for years. He's been shoving Jericho's toothbrush up his ass. That was a promo. That was a comeback.
It was quite the retort to everything Jericho just said. Anyway, Jericho tried to challenge these guys to a Stadium Stampede match, to which Mox replied and cut him off and replied, "I'm not doing that shit." Which I just thought was the most Moxley way to say no to doing a Stadium Stampede match. So it'll be 5-on-5, anything goes at Double or Nothing. Jericho then starts trying to sow some more discord, because apparently that's a word I'm using a lot now, within all those guys by bringing up their past with each other. Eddie's past with Mox and with Bryan and with Santana Ortiz and Mox. So Jericho says, Eddie said, "Fuck all that. I'm ready to fight now." Jericho goes, "No, fuck that." Leaves. Eddie tries to tase him. Bryan tries to stop him. They start pushing and shoving. It's broken up. Whatever. So, like I said, Jericho, I think, killed this, James. We get our match now on Double or Nothing. I did kind of want it to be War Games or Blood and Guts or whatever we call it in AEW, but you know what? 5-on-5 free for all sounds good too.
I was very conflicted during that bit because I'm right there with you. It feels like it's tailor made for Blood and Guts, but at the same time, Blood and Guts shouldn't be a match that just gets thrown around. That is meant to be a rivalry ender, big match feel. And while I think they could get there, the fact that Bryan and Mox and Regal only got involved last week in this feud for the first time, it would have been too quick. If they have a Blood and Guts match down the road, if this feud continues, I'm all for it. But even that, I don't know if it should. I am of the belief that whatever this group is with the Blackpool Combat Club and Kingston and Santana and Ortiz, they should win. I know that they're planting the seeds for animosity. And for the first time, I usually hate that trope whenever they have the good guys team up and it's like, well, can you get along together? And for some reason, there tends to be a problem. At least here, it's based in history. Like you mentioned, all the stuff with all the guys in the past. But all things considered, there is not a weak member of that group, as opposed to the Jericho Appreciation Society, where it's a group made of weak links. I like every guy in that group except for Hager, but so many of them are a part of that team to take losses for Jericho. So if they lose, if they win the Jericho Appreciation Society, I'm going to be upset that they win because they shouldn't, but it keeps the feud going and we can get to Blood and Guts, but they really shouldn't win. And Blackpool Combat Club and Plus Friends should win, but then I guess feud over, right? Like, or like that feud turns into something else, because as it is, that feud's been going on for a while. It really started with Kingston and Jericho, which was at the last pay-per-view. So I don't know. I'm ready for these guys to sort of move forward and all go into different things. Truth be told, as great as it is that we're seeing the Combat Club take on the Jericho Appreciation Society, I want them to get their win and go for the tag titles. That's really all I care about at this point.
Well, if we are getting them for the tag titles, perhaps then Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus do retain, because I don't think they would hotshot the tag title like that.
That's my goal.
Danny, you got anything for this? What'd you think of all of it?
I mean, I still love the Blackpool Combat Club. It's still the best thing in wrestling. I loved that, after Matt Bernard, right? Can I get a quick impression, please?
You want a taste?
Oh yeah, there we go. Amazing. When he reminded Brian and Eddie that Eddie called him a judgmental prick, he just turned to Brian and was like, well, you are. Like, you are.
And Brian was kind of like, yeah, I kind of am.
Yeah, a little bit. But I thought this was weird because, I think we were all like, is he going to say War Games in the middle? Blood and Guts, sorry. Which, I wouldn't dare push back on anything you said, James, but the only Blood and Guts match we've had in AEW did not end the feud, so.
True. That is true. That is true.
That's neither here nor there. It should be a feud ender, but
yeah.
This was still good. I loved all of Jericho's burns, but he talked for too long for me.
Yeah.
Like by the time Regal was cutting his promo, the crowd was like kind of disrespecting him and giving him the what chant, and it didn't come off as like a we don't care what you're saying what chant. It came off as a we're adding on to what you're saying by trying to, but it made me care less about Regal's retort, which it was literally a shitty retort. That's pretty bad, man. And it's based off the premise that I guess Jericho took a piss in Regal's tea once.
It's an old bit. It was an old bit from like the Attitude Era that he pissed in his tea, and then Regal like drank it immediately. And I love that they referenced it, but I was not expecting William Regal, that gentleman, to say, I've been shoving a toothbrush up my ass for around 2 decades now.
Yeah. And he did it to Daniel Garcia, who I'm pretty sure Regal doesn't even know his name, so that's pretty fucked up. But,
I also got to say, I totally agree. Jericho really did nail everyone, but by the time he got to Brian,
you're a nerd.
You're a nerd. I was like, okay, Michael Cole. I remember that. I remember that time period. It really kind of fizzled out at the end.
No, I think it worked well because it's the blind hypocrisy of a delusional heel who literally just called himself a wizard 2 minutes ago, calling anyone else a nerd. So that actually was on the better half. I think the weakest one was on Santana and Ortiz, because it was just like, you guys are in greats, blah blah blah. But the fact that he went there with Moxley is a great touch. That got like real ooze from the crowd. That wasn't like he said bitch. That was like oh shit, was that okay for him to say kind of thing? And they were in Texas and they still got ooze. So like that was great. It just like, I don't know, the timing of this was so, until Moxley grabbed the mic, that's when this really like became like right back to being like an A+ segment. So this was good, a little messy, but I'm into this feud. So.
I feel like Regal really hasn't truly found his groove yet.
Yeah.
Like I love Regal and I'm so happy he's there. I am so happy he's with this group. Fuck you, Jim Cornette. But it's just it's
always fuck you, Jim Cornette.
And while we're at it, fuck you too, Eric Bischoff. But in the meantime, yeah, I feel like Regal's still finding his footing. Like it feels like he's still kind of programmed with the WWE style, and he's trying to like find what it is to be able to be independent again. But when you're as talented as William Regal, you're gonna find it.
So, I half-heartedly disagree with you. He has found it, but it's on commentary.
You know what? I agree. I would love him on commentary.
Well, you know what else too is like he's been playing an authority figure for the last 8 years or something, and now he's back to being a manager. At least he was on commentary sometimes, as GM Regal in NXT, and I even think he was doing commentary in the early stage of NXT, if I'm not mistaken. So
before he became general manager, he was their announcer.
Yeah, exactly. So like he's still got that. I think just him being a manager for like a stable and like having to find his groove as like a promo again in that regard is something that he's got to work out. But I mean, hey, he's still great, and he still has such a presence that we're willing to give him the time and not really give a shit. All right, so right after this, we had a quick backstage promo with Matt Sydal and Dante Martin challenging the Blackpool Combat Club to a match on Friday. We didn't get a response to that. I assume that's going to happen. Also, way to just sign your own death warrants. Good job, guys. Then we had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus the Joker in the Owen Hart Foundation quarterfinal. And fuck yes, it was Maki Ito.
I was so happy.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was
great.
so fucking happy. She is the best. So she came out, she sang her song. Everyone was thrilled. They referenced back to when her and Britt tagged a couple of years ago. Maybe it was last year.
Last year.
It was towards the end of the Jacksonville run. So Ito came out. They were like, oh, so happy to see each other. She lays down for Britt. Britt goes to pin her. Maki tries to roll her up. Britt kicked out. That led to just some hilarity before the commercial. And then they come back and it was actual wrestling. Even though actual wrestling, Maki Ito was just banging her head against the turnbuckle for about a minute. But this match was fun. It was good. Britt ended up winning with the lockjaw and getting the tap. And then afterwards, Toni Storm came out onto the ramp because that'll be the semifinal match, which I am very much looking forward to. So, Danny, what did you think of Maki Ito's return to AEW? And the semifinal match coming up between Toni and Britt?
Oh, this popped me so much. I love this. I love Maki Ito's entrance. I love everything about her gimmick and her presentation. And this was just a fun, goofy as hell match. And this was perfect variety. And, that's something that the women's division doesn't get a lot of, like they're just usually very straightforward, serious matches, and they don't have as much variety in their match types. And this was it, and it was great. I love the fallen headbutt. I love that she missed the first one and caught herself on the second one. I loved all of this. I went the perfect amount of time. Like this shouldn't be a long match. This shouldn't be like a 15-minute match. This should be like a 6-minute match. It's just, it plays to everyone's strengths that way. It was just fantastic. There was nothing in the context of this match that I disliked about it. Like I can still be a dick and be harsh on AEW. We got one tournament match from the women's side and 3 tournament matches from the men's side in this one show. That stuff's always there. It's almost pointless to say now because that's just how it is, and it's not this different, so why I still complain about it. Yeah. But this, in a bubble, in isolation, I loved all of this. It was fantastic. Loved it. If we're not going to get a huge debut for a Joker, it could not have been done better. And even if we did get a huge debut, I don't think it could have been better than this because this was fantastic.
Yeah. Plus, you also you can have a huge debut and have the Joker lose to because it's Britt. They're gonna lose. So having Maki Ito be the Joker was just perfect. I will agree with you.
Could have had a surprise Joker win.
Yeah,
maybe. But against Britt.
That's what makes it crazy is because shit, Britt lost.
And you could even kayfabe it too. It's like whoever the Joker is knows who they're gonna wrestle, and Britt doesn't know who she's wrestling, so she's not prepared for it.
I guess.
And then she could have another match with that person at the pay-per-view, and that person could grab the tights, for the roll-up win, and then Britt can challenge her to a Hell in a Cell match, and it's right there. You get easy out, protected.
I understood that reference. And it's truly an American nightmare.
What I was gonna say about the women's division, I think they have variety in their matches. It's just they're all like in terms of stipulations, I guess, because you do get your steel cage occasionally, or your hardcore match, or the lights out match, or whatever it is. But they never have like anything that's fun like this. The last time there was fun in the women's division was in a men's match when Chris Statlander popped out of a fucking toy crane machine. Like they don't have the fun like this that we get in the men's division sometimes.
So top 3 in the Dynamite of all time is that fucking match.
We don't get that. We don't even really get it too much in the men's division too often anymore either, especially since Orange Cassidy has gone a little more serious / has been hurt.
I don't know how you could say that with a straight face when Hookhausen exists.
Oh yeah. Danhausen's starting to bring it back, but that's been more on Rampage, I feel like, for the most part. So give me more funny moments in the women's. Well, give me more of the women's division, A. But B, give me more funny moments in the women's division because I feel like they need it. But James, so you mentioned having both Jokers lose earlier in the show. Yeah. So I imagine you like the match, but I'm guessing you're just having a little pushback with the idea of that.
I mean, in a match between Maki Ito and Britt Baker should win. I think we're all in agreement on that. I love Maki, and if you don't like her, you don't like fun. But Britt Baker should win that match. That said, why get excited for Jokers if they're just going to lose? It's a nice surprise, but we still don't know. Is John Morrison signed, or was this just a one-off that he lost and bye-bye? Thank you for coming and losing. Maki Ito is not an AEW talent either. She has a relationship with AEW. She's going to pop by here and there, and I'm always excited when she does. But if she's just coming to lose, why be excited that she showed up other than to just be like, all right, thanks for doing the job. We appreciate it. Enjoy the lights. But, it was a fun match, fun bits. I loved all of it. I don't have a complaint about it. It's like Danny was saying, in a vacuum, watching it was great. When you take all the outside stuff, I could sort of mention some grumblings, but I don't want to. For watching it for what it was, Maki Ito was a good Joker. The match was good. I'm excited to see Toni Storm versus Britt Baker. I had no idea who's going to win that match.
That's going to be a banger.
It's going to be a banger. And I'm just glad that there was a good women's match on Dynamite.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say about that except we are all Maki Ito simps. And we are proud of it. So after this match, Shivani went to the ring to announce next week's show was the 3-year anniversary of Dynamite and was hyping all that up when Serena Deeb interrupted him because Shivani had picked Thunder Rosa to win in their match at Double or Nothing, and she was upset about that. And she called out Dustin Rhodes for doing the same thing and ran down like a laundry list of the things that she had gone through in her past, being in the business and everything. And this was a far better promo than the one they had a couple of weeks ago. I thought Deeb looked way better and more comfortable on the mic. Anyway, this eventually ended with Thunder Rosa coming down to kick her ass. Dustin grabs her to prevent her from doing so, accidentally eats an elbow for his troubles. Thunder gets dropped because Dustin literally picked her up. Realizes what she did, and then she gets hit in the head with the title belt by Deeb. So, like I said, I really like this promo, James. I think it did so much more for their upcoming match than anything they've done thus far. That first promo they had together was rough. I feel like for the most part, they had been protecting Deeb from doing live promos because she hasn't been the best at them. But I think this has been her best since she's been in AEW.
I So I love both of these women. I love Thunder Rosa. I love Serena Deeb. I actually have to disagree because I've seen instances in the past where Deeb is good with a hot mic. She's good in front of a live crowd. Thunder is not. Thunder is not good with a mic. She's not good with a hot mic, a cold mic. She's just not good with a mic. And I think I don't necessarily think it's Deeb's like greatest strength. Obviously, that's her wrestling ability, and I wouldn't put her above a lot of women, but I do think she's more than capable. I just think when you don't have a partner who could go back and forth with you, it doesn't really work. So I agree. Tonight was leaps and bounds better. This is honestly what they should have been doing from the get-go, having like short little promos that turn into physicality. But we're here at the end. I feel bad because Thunder Rosa's title reign has been quite honestly a dud so far. And it hasn't been a long title reign, but like it's been long enough that we could say it's slightly disappointing. She desperately needs this win. She needs to look really good in this match so people don't start doing what we are doing with Jurassic Express, which is just let's wait for the title to fall off her. And I think they're going to deliver. I think they're going to deliver a hell of a match. But whoever her next opponent is, whoever her next rivalry is, they're going to really need to rethink how they handle her promos.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on the Deeb thing. I hadn't considered, bouncing off of somebody because the last two people she has had feuds with are Sheeta, who English is not her first language, and Rosa, who, like you said, isn't the best promo. So, yeah. And she's bilingual too. I don't know which one's her first language, but she's bilingual too. So I can see that. I can see why that would make it more difficult to look better when you're facing off with somebody in a promo battle. But I think just at least since she's been in AEW, I haven't seen this out of Deeb. I'm sure because you've been watching her a lot longer than I have. I'm sure she had good ones in WWE.
Yes or at least no. She didn't really have opponents that she could have good matches with, and she was there more to serve like Punk's needs in the straight edge society.
Well, I meant promo wise, not match wise.
But even then, she was mostly just bouncing off of Charles Manson, CM Punk.
Yeah.
So she's always proven capable. She has only gotten better, in my opinion, but it's just not something we see highlighted that often.
All right, fair enough. But again, I still think this was leaps and bounds better than what they did the other week. So
absolutely agree.
I'm, Danny, far more excited now for this title match at Double or Nothing. And honestly, I know she was like kind of a dick about it, but I feel like far more sympathetic towards Deeb than I did coming in, despite the fact she's the heel.
I agree with you on that point. She is, brought up some like real issues and struggles and setbacks that women's wrestlers face. She mentioned that she, got bigger boobs to satisfy a pervert in the back and, all this stuff.
I wonder which one that was.
We can only guess. There's no way of knowing, but and that's good. But I don't know, maybe I'm fucked up, but like because it was Deeb, I was kind of like, this like literally would have been better if it was
Jesus Christ.
If the feud was hot, if the feud was better, like if the feud was hotter, this would be like a holy shit sort of thing, as opposed to just like
I get that.
Like you're trying to spark a flame, and it's fucking raining out, like kind of situation. And then after that, because that was the best part of it, because it took me a while to get into it, but Deeb gets really good about it. And you know what? Props to her, because she, she brought, like I said, she brought some serious shit. But the second Rosa came out, this got like bad again. Like, one, because I thought Dustin holding her back and like dropping her looked really silly. And then the staging of it, like, bro, Deeb is in your fucking eye line picking up the title. There's no way you don't see her. That's a little thing that happens when you're shooting stuff live like that. But that was just more, I'm like, oh, this looks bad. Like the staging of it was just unfortunate. A little
cartoonish.
They're both really good wrestlers. So like this match will be good if given the time and not put in a fucking death slot on the pay-per-view. But
will.
Like I'm still not super into this feud. Like this was good, but it's kind of hard to care about this. You know, I want to, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, just another failing of the women's division in AEW right now. Like, we don't care about your title match.
I don't think it's because of booking, though. I mean,
no,
booking.
That's bro. Besides Punk and Hangman, what titles are there to care about right now? It is insane. It is across the board. That's not even just in the women's division.
It's true. I enjoy watching AEW weekly. There has not been a week of watching Dynamite where I thought this has been hard to watch, but there are certain things that they need to work on. And right now, a lot of title treatment needs some TLC. And I don't mean tables, ladders, and chairs. It's the TNT.
That would help some titles.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll say the Hardys aren't in the title picture right now.
They will be. Just give it time. They will be.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the TNT title, a mess. The women's title, great champion, just hasn't found its footing as a title reign yet. The tag titles, we like Jurassic Express, and they're having bangers. Like we've all agreed, they have bangers of matches, but the rivalries suck. There is no heat behind them as champions.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to their match, Double or Nothing, because I like everybody in it. But you're right. There's no heat behind.
I think this pay-per-view coming is going to be. I want to believe it's going to be like the reset that AEW needs for the title scene, at least. But truth be told, the next big event is the crossover with Japan, the Forbidden Door show. So it's not like there's going to be any major programs going on leading just for AEW stuff. So I think we're going to be in title limbo for a little while. But
I mean, the pecking order right now is world title, TBS title,
yes,
everything else.
I know. I unironically agree.
Because honestly,
Jay's not even defending.
Yeah, but you know what seems more enticing? The winner of the Owen challenging her instead of Rosa.
Yeah. And there's also a rumor that I don't know how true it is, but we're supposedly getting belts to go along with the Owen. We're going to get a men's belt and a women's belt too. And I don't know if those are things that are going to be defended or if it's just like a trophy, but I don't need another singles men's belt and another singles women's belt.
Yeah, I'd rather have like a trophy or something.
How would you defend that? Like, do you have to enter a tournament and win to like defend it?
It's why, even though MJF has won every year, I do like the concept of the diamond ring. You know?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
it works so well for his character because he could use it as an asshole, and you'd have a once a year thing to defend it. Because I feel like that's what the Owen should be, is you once a year.
Yes, I agree.
Like you shouldn't be defending it on a monthly basis or something. If you want to give them a belt as a trophy, fine. Then they can carry it around a lot easier than lugging a trophy around. I understand that, but there's absolutely no reason it should be defended. And quite frankly, it probably just end up being a little confusing.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's get into the last segment of the show, and that was Adam Cole, Bebe against Jeff Hardy in an Owen Hart semifinal, which was interesting. They had 2 quarters and a semi on a show, phrasing. Anyway, this match started with Adam.
Noteworthy, right? We can end the show now. What is there to even talk about?
We'll just skip the match and get to the end. No, so Cole jumped Hardy from behind during his entrance, which I thought was cool, but Jeff eventually got his footing back. And they put on a pretty decent match. It was a lot shorter than I was expecting. I think it started probably around 51 or 52.
Yeah.
And then they went to commercial at 53, at least on my screen. I was probably a little behind because I was streaming. But I mean, it made sense the way the match went. Jeff being hurt from last week, and then the Anything Goes match with Darby. So this ended with Jeff hitting a twist of fate. Also, I don't think Excalibur realizes that Jeff hits twists of fate like stunners now, and Matt still goes flat out. They hit them differently. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, he hit a twist of fate and then something else to set up for the Swanton. Cole was able to roll out of the way, lower the boom, 1, 2, 3. Adam Cole is now in the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Finals. Afterwards, the Young Bucks came out. They went to set up the super kick the Hardys in the ring, but they were discovered. And then Adam Cole hit the two of them from behind. Beat down ensues. And then all hell breaks loose. So Sting and Darby.
You want to go to me first?
No, I know. Sting and Darby come out. They save Jeff and Matt. Then Red Dragon comes out. They hit a high-low on Darby. Sting is in the ring just clearing house. No sells a chair shot, which is always great. Eventually, he gets blindsided by double super kicks from the Bucks. He goes down. I think he ate a BTE trigger 2 or something.
No, he got the chair to the ankle.
Right. Well, I thought. Oh, Matt ate the BTE trigger.
Yeah, earlier.
Yep. So then he got double super kicked. They wrapped his ankle in a chair, like James said. Kyle knee dropped it off the top rope. And it was more going on, but we got the old WCW, we're out of time from Shivani, and the show ended. So
how great was that transition of a black screen to American Dad with Roger just, hello, family. It was beautiful.
But it did feel kind of cool. I was expecting either the TNT it's not TNT anymore, but he always used to be the TNT feature presentation after what was that? Nitro. Or I was expecting Rat in the Kitchen because that's what it's been the last few weeks. But Danny, I will go to you first.
Yes.
Because you were so excited for it, and I called on James first earlier. So
I know you did this.
Right.
You've killed me. You've absolutely killed me.
Well, I'm gonna give you the chance to retort to everything Danny says, but Danny, please, the floor.
Well, first of all, shout out to Hobo Johnson in the chat. Do we want long Jeff Hardy matches?
That's a great question, Hobo Johnson. The answer is yes.
No, don't look, man. He's typing. Okay, we don't know if he's going to understand that you're being sarcastic there when you say yes. Okay, don't do that. And also, shout out to Drew Gruen for saying Dax was robbed. I agree. This half of the tournament sucks. Oh my god. But justice for Dax, man. The only person who cared about this fucking tournament. But anyway, this match didn't matter and whatever. And the right person won, but neither of the right people were in the match. It should have been Dax versus Darby. You can't tell me that's not a better match. That's a better match. But I am super in. I'm gonna say some nice things. I'm gonna balance that a little bit. I am super into the Hardys versus the Bucks. That's the end of my nice things, because they should be a team. Hardy does not need to be a single star right now. That is dumb. And you know what's really dumb? All right, I know you weren't here last week, James, but I went on a bit of a tangent about how dumb it was that Jeff beat Darby.
Oh, I watched. I couldn't enjoy the Rampage taping. I need you to know that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. You were in the chat. I do remember that now. You didn't enjoy. Yeah, okay. But
I was like, he was on the show for 10 minutes from a bathroom.
Look, man. Look, him and Chad keep going places. I don't know who's on the island, who's where, but some of the pushback I got from some of our smart viewers was, it's setting up for a second match, or Darby, they don't want Darby to lose to Cole, or we gotta save Darby Cole. And you know what? That's all bullshit. Because you talked about being simps for Maki bro. Darby's a simp for Jeff Hardy. Are you kidding me? He loses to him, then he comes out. He's like, "Oh, I'll save you, Jeff. I'll get your back now." No, it should be the other way around. Darby should just beat Jeff, and then Jeff would be like, "Yo, this kid, man, this young me, he's really, really something." And then, he makes the save. The Hardys make the save tonight. The roles are reversed, and it's okay. Cole can cheat and beat Darby. That's fine. That's totally okay. Because now, who cares about a Cole Hardy rematch? Hardy just lost because he's a guy who should lose to Cole. So that rematch already sounds terrible to me. Also, I never want to see that again. That match was beautiful. It was spectacular. It was everything it needed to be. Never do that again to your bodies, guys. What the fuck? I don't want them to try to one up that. Dude, no. So you know, but Bucks Hardys though, right? That's gonna be dope. So
But that's also like, all right.
I'm excited for that.
No, I get that, you know, storyline wise, you have Hardy face someone from the Elite, but
Exactly.
Darby is connected to the Hardys, so it still works if the roles are reversed and the Hardys are just the ones who make the save.
No, I do agree. I do agree. I think we were talking about vacuums before. We were talking about context. I think in the grand scheme of things, you have that match because, like I said, even though you don't want to see Hardy Darby happen again, you do want Darby to get that win, and it's going to feel more meaningful in a non-tournament match when there's actually a feud around it. It's like,
I agree, but then it shouldn't have been in the tournament.
And you know what? I actually do agree with that. I do agree with that. It's one of those classics. Well, if you've booked yourself into a corner by having these guys in the tournament, don't put them in the tournament. I fully agree with that. As someone who saw that match live, it was fucking awesome, and I'm not going to complain. And
it was awesome. It was awesome.
I do just kind of wish that. It's why I'm not crazy about 8-man tournaments. It feels like you have very little time to build all the drama. I kind of miss 16-man tournaments where you could have, like, granted, we kind of got that with the qualifiers.
Yeah.
But it's like Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin should be a big match. And to have it in the first round of a tournament, it feels like anything after that just feels lesser, you know? Yeah. And this match definitely felt lesser. There were good aspects to it. I love the whisper in the wind into the super kick, even though I don't think they fully nailed it. I do think that was a great spot.
Oh yeah, that was awesome looking.
There were elements of this match that were good. It pales in comparison to both of their matches in the first round tournament. It just like Dax Cole was a better match and Hardy Darby was a better match. But I get why they went the route they did, because it's definitely planting the seeds for a lot of things, not just one storyline, but at least 2 or 3. And I get it. I do find it weird that Cole attacked Hardy before the match. Like, you could easily just say that Hardy is still injured from the match last week, and Cole just took advantage of it going into with this match. It just felt like it makes Cole feel a little weaker, and that's just something they really need to stop doing.
I wonder if something ran long and they did that to like shorten the match a bit. Because like I said, it came on
late.
Just
make him a sniveling heel. Like,
yeah,
he's just kind of weak. This match couldn't go long, but there's just a lot. Like, this match didn't have to happen this week. You have the 2 matches from the other side of the bracket. Why did this match happen this week? Why couldn't Statlander and Red Velvet happen on this show? Like,
I agree.
I don't understand. Like, but
they should have done all the quarterfinals, the rest of the quarterfinal matches this week. Do all the semifinal matches next week.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
And then set up
weird
for
that
Sunday.
They jammed this in here. It's like, honestly, my opinions on Hardy aside, like, it's just weird that this was here.
Yeah,
you know. Like,
no, I fully agree. Why have a semifinal match on the same night as 2 quarterfinal matches? That's just weird.
Wouldn't it be nice to have O'Reilly? Let's say O'Reilly wins. All right, him and Cole winning on the same night. That's a good story, a good night-long thread to have going on. I don't know. It was just kind of weird, but whatever. We're getting to Hardy's Bucks, so
yeah,
we're through like you said. Overall, though, I think we're all on the same page. Darby Hardy should have been saved for a big story and a big pay-per-view, but we're getting to the reason the Hardys are really here, and it's
the Bucks, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain much about that. If I do, it's just at James's expense.
I know we got kind of long tonight, but I do want to make one more comment about this match. And Dragoon kind of stole my take here. I don't think Cole should have been in this tournament at all. I
agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
I feel like he's too high up on the card to be in this tournament because it's just so difficult for him to lose to anybody.
You know, this. I'm gonna go full what I think is full Dragoon on this. Cole being in the tournament ruined the tournament completely. This tournament sucked because Cole was in it.
Wow.
That sucked, but you know what I mean. I'm being.
Well, I think it just became predictable because I just don't know who Adam Cole loses to that isn't like a champion.
But
you know,
here's the problem.
He could have lost to Darby Allin, and that would have been okay. You know,
here's the problem, and I get where Dragoon is coming from. I get where you're coming from. I get where everyone's coming from. But the problem is they have been hyping this tournament up for almost like 7 months at this point.
Feels like it.
You can't hype a tournament up that much, especially about a guy like Owen Hart, who is almost universally beloved and hasn't had a presence in wrestling. He's not honored the same way Eddie Guerrero is. He's not honored the way a lot of fallen wrestlers are. And it's because of all the drama that followed his death. So if you're going to have something called the Owen and you're going to make a big deal out of it, you got to put in top talent. The problem is they mixed in top talent with mid-carders. Mid-carders we like, but mid-carders, like
upper mid-carders, but like, yeah.
I love Dax. I would have loved to see him go all the way. But Dax being in the tournament doesn't make as much sense as a main eventer like Adam Cole. I love Jeff. It didn't make sense for him to be in the tournament as much as it did Darby Allin being in the tournament. Like, I can admit that, and I recognize that.
Jeff, I buy. I mean, I buy both of those guys. It's just a matter of, I think.
Please don't make me fight you. I'm just asking. Like, it's really hard. I'm walking a thin line here. I'm walking a very fine line. Please don't make this harder for me.
No, do it. Fight him.
I think the thing is, you need to decide what level, power level, for lack of a better phrase, you want everybody in the tournament to have. Because when you put a dude from, you know, a guy who is a top card guy in Cole, and then you have him face a bunch of dudes who are mid to upper mid card, it's just difficult for him to lose any of these matches. You want to put Cole in, I feel like you got to put dudes like Mox and Bryan in too. You know? But if you're going to put dudes like Dax and Jeff in, you know, and then even too, like you want to put like Darby in still and Kyle. Yeah. But you want to put all those guys in, having Cole in there too just makes this a predictable tournament. Because I don't see him losing.
Yeah, because the tournament shouldn't be a consolation prize. It shouldn't be a consolation prize. Like, oh, I couldn't win the title, I'm going to win this tournament. It should be for someone to come up, even if it's someone who's already had success like Darby or someone like, it's for other people to come up, not for Cole to step down and cool off, like, or to regain the heat after losing the Hangman twice, which, you know, I'd argue that second match should have never happened, and that was a very WWE thing of AEW to do. But that, like, his presence in it, it's not like Cole is great. So we're not saying that like Cole is, you know, a problem or anything. Like, just him being in this tournament, it made it feel like we don't have a diamond ring to give you, but here's something because you lost to the champ twice. You know, he could just be doing the Elite story. The Hardys and the Elite could be having their feud, and none of this had to involve the tournament. And this could have been just insane. And even though pretty much all the matches we've gotten have been good, it's still like it just, I don't know. It has not a sour taste, but just not as sweet as it should have tasted taste, you know?
I get that.
Yeah, it's just, I think everybody else in this tournament should have been there. You know, I just think Adam Cole's presence is just making, like I said, it's making it predictable.
Who would you have filled in?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd probably have to go, you know, look and see who's there. But I think Ray Phoenix
Max
being
Caster.
Max Caster would have worked. Yeah, somebody like that would have worked great. And you put him up against Dax, and I think they did have that match a few weeks ago. I couldn't remember if it was Dax or Cash 1-on-1, but like that's a good match, and I think Dax wins that and then moves on and faces whomever.
Or you know, have Hook win the whole tournament. Fuck it. Like,
send Hook. You know, it's just, you know, or like I know. I guess because he's going for the tag titles, but like if you had Ricky
Martin in it.
Yeah, well, he lost the qualifier to Ray Phoenix, so
just put him in he shouldn't have lost the qualifier.
Or just put him in the tournament. Yeah,
that's why they shouldn't have qualifiers. They should just have 16-man tournaments. Yeah, even use the ranking system that AEW has. Are you going to tell me they don't have people ranked below the top 5?
Below 5.
Like,
You
is it
have
just
your
a
two
nebulous?
number one. That works for an 8-man tournament because you have your 2 number 1 ranked guys going for titles, and then the other 4, like as half a sort of. No, you'd have to do the tag division. Never mind. You still have to stretch it out a lot, but like it's
like the old AP poll used to have the numbers 26 through 30 on the bottom in like fine print.
You could have. I wouldn't put Malachi Black in the tournament, but put Buddy Matthews in the tournament. Like
Buddy would have been perfect.
I would have taken
Buddy
Malachi
would have been
too,
perfect.
but yeah, Buddy probably would have been better.
Well, Malachi has to. I feel like I can't accept him losing in the tournament. You know,
Yeah, I guess
like,
depending on who
a couple
we face.
people, you know, and it's the Cole problem of it. But like, if you put a guy like Malachi and he wins, that's fantastic. But if he doesn't, it's like that's bullshit. And that's like the problem with Cole being in there too. But it's just not exciting, the idea of Cole winning this tournament. That's just not really.
I guess though, like if you want to do that level of people, like yeah, Cole, Malachi, I still think you still keep Phoenix and Joe in there, and then you find a few more people, and like you can have it at that tier.
Well, do you have Darby at the same level as Adam Cole and Malachi Black? I personally do.
I think I have him around Malachi. I think Cole is still above all of these people, but I think Black and Darby are around the same level.
I think Cole is beneath both of them because of how he's been presented. Like he has lost a lot of his luster in these last 2 months. Like the Hangman feud knocked him down a lot of pegs in my eyes.
That is something we said we were going to discuss and never discussed it.
Malachi, who is Malachi lost to that's still in the company?
Well, he got rolled up, didn't he, by fucking Pentagon or Ray Phoenix, one of them?
Maybe.
I'm sure he has. Phoenix, he's been gone for a while.
Oh, he's back. No, what I was going to say about Cole was that was a discussion we were going to have and then never got around to, and we're not going to today because I think this is our longest live ever. But
we're doing
just the overexposure of Adam Cole in the ring. Like the dude's been wrestling every week since he's got there, as compared to dudes like Kenny or Hangman or guys who don't wrestle every week because they're at the top of the card. But that is a discussion for another day, which I think we will have because it keeps coming around in our conversations. But like I said, this has been our longest live ever. So thank you for sticking with us throughout this almost 2-hour show, I feel like. Because it's late as hell. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Like Danny said, when we get to 81 subscribers, James will learn how to pronounce a name that I'm not even going to try. And when we get to 100, James will dye his hair green and rap for us, which I'm very much looking forward to. And I really want to see it. So please subscribe, tell your friends, have them subscribe. Check out all our social media stuff. I will get that in the description. I always say that. I forget half the time. But you can find it elsewhere on our YouTube channel by watching some of our other videos. Check out our podcast from next week or from last week, and we will have this week's pod up by the end of the week. So be sure to check that out as well. We will have all the stuff on the Sasha Banks and Naomi thing, so be sure to watch. So for Danny Hernandez and a very pointy James Gisanti, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you for watching, and we will catch